Good evening, everyone. I'm Eburnett. Out front tonight, developing story. Petraeus corrects the record. There are new details coming in about the former CIA director's highly anticipated testimony tomorrow on Capitol Hill. CNN has learned David Petraeus will acknowledge he knew almost immediately after the attack that it was the work of Ansar al-Sharia, a militia group linked to al-Qaeda. This is a significant development. You may remember it was 5 days after the Benghazi incident when Susan Rice, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, went on the Sunday talk shows and said the attack grew out of a spontaneous demonstration against an anti-Muslim video. Let's get right to the breaking report right now. Barbara Starr is at the Pentagon. Barbara, you've been breaking this. Tell us what you're learning tonight about David Petraeus' testimony on Benghazi.
Well, good evening, Aaron. I've spoken to a source who is close to Petraeus, directly familiar with Petraeus' thinking on this matter. Petraeus, we are told, wants to go to the Hill, set the record straight, and tell everything he knows. He will start by saying, indeed, that he knew almost immediately after that it was Ansar al-Sharia, but that also there was some confusion. He had about 20 intelligence reports linking the attacks to that video, that anti-Islamic video. Those reports were disproven, but not until after he had briefed Capitol Hill. All of this took some time to sort out. That's what he wants to lay out tomorrow.
And Barbara, if he knew, and I know you're saying there were conflicting reports, which of course we have heard before, but if he knew, and he's going to say he knew almost immediately it was the work of an al-Qaeda militia, Ansar al-Sharia, can he explain why Susan Rice went on 5 talk shows and said, and called it spontaneous, you know, was very clear in it being something different?
Right. Well, the way it's going to lay out, we are told, is Petraeus will talk about the fact he had CIA intelligence community approved talking points about what they believed, laying out some of the confusion, laying out the different facts, but what they believed. But as far as he knows, we are told, Susan Rice may have gotten some information from some other part of the administration, some other talking points that were developed. He's going to stick to what he knew and what his talking points were. That's what we're being told.
Barbara Starr, thank you very much. Some pretty incredible and explosive reporting there from Barbara Starr tonight. And this comes on the same day that members of Congress behind closed doors watched classified videos of the attack on the U.S. consulate. CNN has learned one of those videos showed Ambassador Chris Stevens being dragged out of the building. The briefing today was the most comprehensive account yet of the September 11th attack, according to a senior intelligence official. And it also included a detailed timeline of how the attack unfolded and the administration's response. Now, then there was also, and this is obviously very important, that closed-circuit video from the consulate. According to one senator who watched that video, it's clear it was not a demonstration that spontaneously turned into an attack, which, of course, as we have said, and you know, that's what the administration officials had said in the days following the incident. And as Barbara Starr just reported, former CIA Director David Petraeus will testify tomorrow, raising more questions about how the administration handled the situation. Senator Dan Coats of Indiana is on the Intelligence Committee. He was briefed today. He saw the video. He'll be at the hearing tomorrow in the center of everything, and he's out front. Senator Coats, really appreciate your taking the time. What did you learn from the video today?
Well, we learned a lot. We saw things in real time. It was a composite video. I did not see any evidence of a demonstration previous to the attack that took place. That was revealing. A lot of hard questions were asked. A lot of questions were answered. There are more questions that need to be asked, and we're going to be meeting with General Petraeus tomorrow morning, and that'll give us another insight directly from someone who is in charge of this situation.
Let me ask you what, I don't know if you just heard what Barbara Starr was reporting, but you know, in addition to saying that that David Petraeus was aware in the immediate aftermath that this could have been linked to Ansar al-Sharia, the al-Qaeda-linked group, he also perhaps it seems unclear on what talking points Susan Rice had, and as she described it, that somewhere else in the administration, someone must have given her some of those talking points. They didn't seem to match those from the CIA. Does that worry you?
Well, we spent an extensive amount of time on those talking points and how the procedure and how they were put together. I asked a lot of questions, as did others, in that regard. We're anxious to fill in and get answers. There are still unanswered questions that have to be given to the committee to look at. In the end, we want to provide a factual, a real-time report of exactly what happened. And obviously, people need to take responsibility based on what we come to. But I don't want to get ahead of the game here.
Right.
And a lot of this information is classified also. But I think we will learn more as we go forward with Petraeus tomorrow, and then with hearings also following that.
Before the hearing today, I just want to quote you back to yourself, but here it goes. You said this administration has been far too candid about successful operations like the raid on Osama bin Laden, but it's been far too quiet on the tragic attack on Benghazi. Why do you think that was so?
Well, you know, it took 8 weeks for us to start to really get the information that we started to get, and that was only by our subpoenaing, not subpoenaing, but bringing the actors into the Intelligence Committee for classified briefings. There was a lot of delay. I think there was a lot of speculation that this had something to do with the election. We really want to get to the truth of all this. I don't think it's good for the country or the intelligence community or anybody, other agency, to have this speculation running around. So let's get the real answers, get the truth. We're going to have a public hearing, and we're going to issue a report so that the American people get what they deserve to hear. And
I want to ask you something about John McCain. I don't know if you're aware of this, but he, along with other Republicans, several other Republicans, did not attend a hearing today on Benghazi. But obviously, as you know, he's been very, very vocal on this issue. He's used the words cover up to describe it. A CNN producer asked him, and well, by the way, I should say, instead of attending that hearing, he was holding a press conference calling for a separate investigation into Benghazi. So a CNN producer asked him why he didn't go to the hearing, and here's what he said.
I understand that you did miss this briefing yesterday.
I'm not, no more comment. I have no comments about my schedule, and I'm not going to comment on how I spend my time just being here.
Is John McCain being too political?
Well, look, first of all, that was yesterday, and yesterday was a closed session of the Intelligence Committee. Today was the hearing, and today was where the Director of National Intelligence, the head of the Counterintelligence Agency, the CIA, the FBI, State Department, they were there, and John McCain was at that hearing. I walked in with him.
So you feel that, you know, any criticism of him is unfair. I just want to make it, you know, clear, because people have been picking on him for this, so it sounds like you're defending him.
Well, John said he had a scheduling conflict, and I'll take him at his word.
All right. One other question I want to ask you about. You were a former ambassador yourself. Rand Paul, who was on this show last night, and he was very clear. He felt that the person in charge of embassy security at the State Department must be fired in regards to what happened in Benghazi. Do you agree? I mean, you've been an ambassador. You've been in an embassy. You've dealt with this on the ground.
Well, I have, and I think that clearly we have to look at what the State Department response has been in terms of these requests for more security. We're looking into that. I think drawing a conclusion right now is getting ahead of the curve. We've got more to learn, but we're going to ask all tough questions, and we're going to get the real answers, and then we'll make the recommendations as to how to go forward, because we do not want this to happen again.
All right. Well, we are rooting for you to get those answers. Thanks so much, Senator. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. All right.